Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today we're gonna be playing with the new Sonia G brushes. Lots and lots of brushes. These are the Fusion set that was just released, and I believe that these sold out like immediately, but they are gonna be restocked, I think at the end of July. I'm not absolutely sure about that, but I'll keep an eye on it. These are made for liquid and cream products. So today we're going to be doing a full face of liquid and cream products. So if you're interested in seeing that, just stay tuned. So like I said, today is about the Sonia G brushes, but we'll also be talking about the products that I'm gonna use with them. Of course, putting my hair back so you guys can see. So I have nothing on my face except for my brows are done because it's not a liquid or cream product. So I figured, you know, let's bypass that. So I'm gonna be using a number of different products from a whole bunch of different brands. I figured we could just try a whole bunch of different cream products and liquid products so you can see how they work with, you know, a broad spectrum of products. I've got Guerlain and Dolce & Gabbana and Chanel and Chantecaille and Lisa Eldridge and Sydney Grace and Pat McGrath. Literally different product from everybody. So I thought we'd start with the Dolce & Gabbana. This is the Solar Glow Lumifying Drops, and these are in some shade that I don't remember. Okay, I'll find out for you guys, but oh, here we go. And I'm just getting old and can't see. Sunlight. This is from the collection that came out last year, I think. I think some of these are still available. The design at the top is kind of like a Sicilian, traditional Sicilian design. There are bronzers, blushes, and a whole bunch of other things. If you're interested in the Dolce & Gabbana collections, you can pick them up at Harrods. I don't think they're available anywhere else. Not that I've seen. So this is a very pinky glow, which works really well for me. Not necessarily, and ignore this over here on my hand, but that's the Sunlight. So we're gonna put that on my face. So today is gonna be warm here in Massachusetts. For my friends that are in the Pacific Northwest, I know that you are struggling with some ridiculous heat, and we've had some of that in Massachusetts. Not as much as you've had, but we've had some. And this smells like suntan lotion. Every time I smell it, it's a really good smell. As I was saying, the people in the Pacific Northwest are having temperatures, if you're in the area, you know, 110 degrees, which is just unheard of in that area of the country. Here in Boston, we've had not that hot, but it's been 95 to 100, which is relatively unheard of here too. So, you know, a lot of people here, like the people in the Pacific Northwest, don't have air conditioning because you don't really need it, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Here in Boston, we do have some hot temperatures, but usually it's August. Very rarely. I mean, I was born here, I grew up here. I don't remember ever being this hot in June. So, you know, we have air conditioning. We have a new house. We're very lucky, but there's a lot of people who do live in older homes that don't. So, you know, if you're in those conditions, stay safe, buy fans. If you can get an a window air conditioner unit, if they're not sold out. When I was a kid growing up here, we did have a couple of days that, you know, were really hot, and my whole family would stay in the family room, pull out the pull-out sofa. It was a pull-out bed. And we'd all sleep in that bed in the family room because we had a window air conditioning unit because we did not have central air, because a lot of people didn't. And fans. And I remember that as a kid. And my school didn't have air conditioning either. But, you know, now, you know, most homes have air conditioning, but in areas of the country where it just never gets that hot, you know, it's just not something people think of. Okay, so I've got to the Sunlight? I'm gonna get the name wrong like 4 times. Sunlight on my face. Now, I did not use a brush for that because for me, when I put in those kind of highlighters, I like to use my fingers. I just feel like the warmth of my hand makes it spread better. But for everything else today, I will use the new brushes, I promise. Okay, so I've got the Guerlain L'Essential foundation, but I'm gonna use the Soleil Tan de Chanel first, like underneath it, and we'll use the brushes. If you haven't seen this, this is the old formula. They do have a new formula, and they do have a new shade, a deeper shade. This was called Bronze Universal at the time. I don't think it's called that anymore. I hope it's not called that anymore because it's not in any way universal. Not that anything is, but this especially wasn't because it's not that deep. I mean, you know, I can wear it. It's not that deep. We're gonna use that first. Let's use, and we'll go through all the brushes. So we've got the soft concealer, which looks like this. We've got, I'm going by size here. We've got the jumbo concealer, which looks like this. And you can see it's like a flatter brush. We've got the mini base. We've got the classic base. And when I use these, I'll do some comparisons to some other brushes. And then we've got this jumbo base, which is a really interesting brush because it's got a crimped barrel, which you can see. See right there, you can see the flat part right in here. And I don't have any brush that looks like this, which is really interesting. So the Sonia G travel set that she came out with had a mini base in it. So I'll show you, they're the same brush, but this is spread out a little bit, but the handles are very different. This is the much longer handle, which I prefer. The mini base is great though. The travel set works really well for travel. And I do really like this brush because I use it for contour, which is what I'm gonna use it for today, but in this new set. So we're gonna take the Chanel, I'm gonna put it right in the, and contour. Now what I would say is this particular shade, like I said, this is the older formula, is actually a little like too bronze to be a great contour for me. The old shade, I haven't tried the new one, it's a little orange. I like it. I think it's a good product. You know, I've had it for quite some time. I had an older one, which I eventually got rid of because, you know, the date on this is 18 months? Yeah, 18 months. This one's older than 18 months. But I had one that was even older than that, and it didn't go bad, but I just felt like, you know, I should replace it. But it is a little bronze. Like when I do contour, usually I use a cooler color. That is the better way to do bronze. But I wanted to use this product because I wanted you guys to know that it works really well with this brush, and it does. So what I do is just, I'll put on like a little bit higher than I normally would with like my contour. And I kind of bronze tour. It's not really contouring because if I was contouring, it would be like a cooler shade. So just something to keep in mind. I don't know the new one. The new one and the deeper one may be cooler in nature, but this one definitely is not. I still like the product, but and personally, like I've had this for quite some time. I don't even know how long I've had it because I didn't put a sticker on this, which I should have. I usually do that, but I haven't even like gone through like 1/100th of it. I feel it just takes forever to work through this. So once you buy one of these, like you're gonna have it forever. It just there's a ton of product in there. Okay, so now we're gonna put the foundation on. So I'm gonna shake it up, put it on my hand, and then I am going to use, let's use the jumbo base brush. Let's see how that works. So I've got it on my hand like this. This is a pretty thick formulation. This is the Natural Glow. This is the 16-hour wear. I don't have the one that's more matte. If you've watched my channel, I'm not a matte person. I don't do well with mattes. My skin is very dry, like very dry. So I don't have really any, the only matte formula I have that's at all matte is the Tom Ford. And that's like a soft matte, supposedly. I wear that sometimes, but not actually that often. My skin is so dry that it just, you know, it doesn't work well on me. Mattes kind of accentuate the dryness. So it's just not, you know, not a great look. So this brush is working really well. Very soft. One of the reasons I often don't use brushes, my skin, as I mentioned, if you've watched my channel, you'll know, so sorry for repeating myself, but for anybody who's new, my skin is not only very dry, but it's very, very sensitive. And I guess you'd say reactionary. I have reactions to everything, and my skin gets very red just by touching it. You probably noticed when I put on the Solar Glow that my skin got a little bit red. That happens. And so, you know, I tend not to use brushes all the time, because my skin just gets like so sensitive that I can't use a brush. But this is working out really well, and it's not irritating my skin, which is nice. But it's like dense enough that it's picking up product, and it's smooth enough that it, you know, disperses it well without me having any like weird reactions to it. So this is really nice. I'm just gonna put on a little bit here over my cheeks. I have rosacea, so that's, you know, where I probably, if I put on more foundation, it's gonna be over that area. I don't usually wear like a heavy amount of foundation. I don't wear full coverage foundations. I don't wear, you know, a lot of layers of foundation. I don't powder my skin. Again, because my skin is dry, my skin is sensitive, and because I'm older. I'm 49, and I feel, and this is just my opinion, that as you get older, if you wear more makeup on your face, I don't know, I just feel like it tends to age you a little bit more. Not everybody feels that way, but I just, you know, I think like full foundations look better on younger people who don't need it. But anyway, so this brush is really interesting because it is very dense. You know, it's a very dense brush. It worked really well with foundation. The only other brush I use is the BK Beauty 101. If you haven't seen this brush before, it's a great brush for foundation. It's angled, as you can see. This one doesn't look to be. It looks pretty flat. But the foundation went on beautifully. I mean, it's a really good finish. Yeah, I have to say, I'm really impressed by that. The foundation looks great. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. So this jumbo base is described as a swipe and go brush for fast, flawless foundation application. And I have to say, I think it did it. I mean, it's really impressive. The blend in here is natural and synthetic bristles, hand bound by master artisans in Japan. The handle is made from sustainably harvested maple wood and coated with 4 layers of pigment and lacquer for a rich dimensional finish. It is really beautiful. She's got this is the red handles. If you haven't seen her brushes before, she also has the blue handles, which is like the sky sets, which they look like this. So the type of hair is Sokoho goat hair. Got to get this right. I wonder if no, I was just checking to see if like individually you could buy them, but no, those are sold out too. I was just checking. So it can be used with creams, liquids, and powders. White bristles clean with a microfiber towel between uses. That's what I use, by the way, guys. Between these, like I use a microfiber towel between different products, and then I clean them. I should clean them more often, like actually wash them, but you shouldn't wash these too often because there are natural bristles in here. Okay, so let's use the concealer. Let's see. I don't think I'm going to use the jumbo concealer today. The jumbo concealer is, which one? This one. This is the jumbo, and this is the soft. Make sure I got the right names right. Yes. So here's the jumbo concealer on this side. This is the jumbo, and then that's the soft concealer. And I'm going to use the soft concealer, but let me tell you as I hold these up and get my face out of frame so you can see them. The soft concealer is a fluffy brush for soft, gradual application of concealer. The jumbo concealer is a denser concealer brush for building coverage with stiff creams. I generally don't use like a stiff cream for concealer. I don't have a lot to conceal on my face, which I guess is that was like a backhanded compliment to myself. But what I mean is, I don't really have like, I don't get acne. Don't feel like, I mean, don't feel bad because I have so many other problems, but I don't have acne. And the redness on my face is covered really well, frankly, by most foundations. I'm, again, very lucky, but I've also had a lot of laser treatments, so again. But concealer, I don't really have a ton of color issues around my eyes. This is the Pat McGrath, by the way, concealer. It's one of the few concealers that I've ever had any like interest in using. And I use just a tiny amount. But I do have a little bit of like green blueness around my eyes. So we're gonna try out the soft concealer. And I feel like, you know, I tend to use my fingers because again, I feel like the warmth of my skin helps, mostly because my skin is so dry that I feel like it's hard for most concealers to work well on me because it just goes into lines. Like that's all that happens. But this is actually, that actually worked really well. Okay. I'm just kind of like circling a little bit. I go a little bit into this area of my eye because that is where I have like more, I think most of us do. And then like kind of down my nose, a little bit of darkness. It's like, it doesn't look like, you know, like deep circles or anything, but there's, you know, a little bit. Yeah, blended really well. The brush is very comfortable right around my eye area, which is, you know, very sensitive. And the way I do it, so I kind of go like in here first, out here second, and then I kind of sweep what might be left under my eyes. My eyes are very sensitive. My skin is very sensitive, but my eyes are very sensitive. So I don't like things too close to my eyes. I tried to do contacts once. I don't need, my vision is perfect, but I wanted like colored contacts and I tried it once and yeah, no. All right, so let me fix my brows. I'm gonna use the Kosas Air Brow. I have pencil on my brows right now, Gucci pencil, because that is what I use. But I do really like this product. This is a brow gel. This is in Auburn. And again, this is Kosas. And it just like pushes the brows up, gives them a little bit of color. I am gonna get my brows microbladed, hopefully this fall. It's hard to get an appointment. It's like everybody like emerged from the, you know, being indoors and they're like, we have to get out and do our faces. I don't know what happened, but like there's no appointments anywhere. Okay, so we're gonna also use the Radiance Gel Bronzer. This is from Chantecaille. And as I've said, I use the Chanel Soda, the Tan de Chanel, but this is gonna go on over it because I put that underneath. And I'm putting a lot on my hand so you can see what it looks like. It's a little runny. And then I'm just gonna put it on my face like this, and then we'll use one of the brushes. All right, let's use the classic base brush. And let's see how that's described. It is the ultimate cream base blush for flawless blending and buffing. So let's try it. And if you've never used this product by Chantecaille before, it's a great, great product. It's definitely, you can see it already. It's definitely deep, but it's not too deep once you start blending it in, which is what I'm doing now. And this works really well. This is a great blender. Keep blending and blending and blending. Put a little bit on the nose. Yeah, really nice. Super soft, super smooth. Okay, next we have highlight. Now I know we used the Dolce & Gabbana Solar Glow underneath, but we're gonna also use the Westman Atelier Lit Up Stick. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but we're gonna use this, just a little bit of it, on the high points of my face. And so we'll go ahead and just do like this. And then we'll let's take the mini base and just like kind of buff that in a little bit. And this is a very subtle highlight, which is why I chose it, because we've got the Solar Glow underneath, and you know, we don't want, or I don't want too much with the Solar Glow in addition. Because I'm pretty bronzed today. I used a lot of the bronzer because I wanted you guys to see how it would blend out, but I think it did a really good job. The brushes are impressive. I'm not surprised. I mean, I love the Sonia G brushes. I've loved every Sonia G brush I've ever had, but you know, I hadn't had these before. All right, so now we're gonna use the Lisa Eldridge blush, and this is in Mountain Walk, I think? Yeah, Mountain Walk. This is one of the few shades I have not used yet on my face. I've tried them all, but I haven't tried this on my face. All right, so we're gonna take, this is the shade. I know it looks really bright, but when these shear out pretty quickly. So we're gonna put this here, here, and if you've watched my channel, you know usually I use my fingers, but today let's see, should we use the mini base? Let's use the classic base, the one we used for the bronzer. Let me just wipe that off. Okay, let's like pounce a little bit first, and then we'll blend. I like to kind of pounce a little bit first because it kind of like pushes it in, and then we'll blend it. And if you are somebody who has problems with like longevity of like cream brushes, I would suggest trying powder first. I don't have that issue because my skin is so dry. So just, you know, something to keep in mind. I find that with cream blushes, all cream blushes, not just Lisa Eldridge, there can be some issues with keeping them on your face. So if you put a powder down first, they're gonna last longer. All right, so now I know it looks a little bright at the moment, but give it a minute because these kind of sink in the skin, and then you find that like there's not as much color as you think there is. Okay, so next we're gonna do the eyes. All right, so what the shade I'm gonna use today is a Sydney Gray shade. This is Dragonfly. I'm just shaking it up because it's been sitting in a drawer for a little bit. And again, I'm swatching way more on my hand than would be needed, but I want you to see the shade. You can see how multi-dimensional this is. And the thing about these types of products is that you put them on your eye and they can dry down quite quickly. So I am gonna put it on my eye, and then we'll use the, you know what, we might use the, should I use the soft concealer? That might actually be the right size. Because it's kind of familiar, it's similar to the Baby Blender by Westman Atelier. It's a little bit smaller. Let's do that, let's try it. All right, let's put it on the stuff on my hand first and see. It's probably already pretty dry. It's about the right size for my eyelid. I mean, everyone's got different size eyelids. All right, so let's try this wet. Let's get a little bit more. Like I said, it dries fast. But it's a great shade. And if you haven't tried the Sydney Gray shades, now is the time. There's the Temptalia collab that they've just done, and the shades in there, if you haven't seen my video and lots of other people's videos too, they're amazing. This is their cream formula, but their powder formula is also just impressive. And I'm going back and forth to try to get it, you know, on there before it dries out. But this brush is actually a pretty good size, the soft concealer, for my eyelid. I'm getting it a little bit outside of where I want to, but I can wipe that off. That's no problem with a makeup remover. Just kind of blending upwards a little bit. Yeah, these dry super fast. So you just have to work quickly. But if you're interested in like a one and done kind of brush, the soft concealer works. It's a little big if you're looking for like really detailed work, but okay, I did clean up my eye area a little bit, but I will say this brush worked beautifully with the Sydney Gray's products. They are stunning. They are just beautiful. Again, this is Dragonfly. I'll bring you in close so you can see it, but the brush works beautifully. The only thing I would say is it is a bigger brush. It's not like a tiny brush. So if you don't have a lot of lid space, this is gonna be a little bit too much. You know, I don't have a ton of lid space. I have some, but even I, you know, like I had to clean up a little bit because the brush is pretty big and you're going to get it kind of everywhere if you're not careful. So let me put on a little bit of eyeliner on the lower side so that we can, on the lower lash, so you can see it kind of pulled together. And then I'll bring you guys in. In honor of the new Chanel liners, I'm gonna use Intense Teal by Chanel. This is one of my favorite shades. It looks more blue a lot of the time than it does teal. I mean, I guess teal is bluish green, but to me, it always looks like blue, but I like this shade. I think it's just an unusual color. And on me, I don't know. I like it. I don't know what else to say. I just think it looks really well. It works really well. I'm gonna use one of the Katie Jane Hughes brushes to buff it out. This is a number 18 brush. That would be the only thing I would say about this collection from Sonia G. They are all beautiful. They all work really well. And, you know, she's kept to her amazing quality. But there aren't any like super small brushes. These are all face brushes. So I'm gonna assume she's gonna come out, or I hope she's gonna come out with some eyeshadow brushes with the same, you know, mixed. Because these brushes are beautiful, and this soft shader I think worked really well considering, but I think, you know, we're gonna want, or at least I'm gonna want some eye brushes, like, you know, an eye set, kind of like she did with her Sky Set. First she had face brush. I think she had face brushes first. I can't even remember. But then she did an eye set. So I'm hoping that she does the same thing here, because I think we would all love this type of brush. but with an eye set. Okay, so I'm going to curl my lashes, put on some mascara, and then we'll come back out and I will put on some lipstick, which is gonna be cream, but I mean, I don't think I'm gonna use a brush for that. Okay, we'll be right back. So before we use some lipsticks to finish off the look, I thought I wanna use all the brushes because I have to. So the Jumbo Concealer, I was thinking I'm gonna use a little bit of the By Terry powder, and I use a very little amount of this. And again, I know this is not the right brush because really this is meant for like a denser. We're just gonna put on a tiny, tiny bit of that powder and just like pat it under the eye. This powder is an excellent, and I'll show it to you in just a second. This is an excellent powder for the under eye, but you have to be, for me anyway, very careful with it because it can look cakey if, like on dry skin, if you put on too much. So this is a tiny one. This is the one I travel with. It's a hyaluronic Hydra powder by Terry. I have a large one in the pink shade. I think it's pink. I think it's actually pink. I'm not absolutely sure. But this is the original. I also have the press powder, which I carry in my purse. And like, I'll just like dot a little bit sometimes. It works really well for my skin because it's a hyaluronic powder. So it works, in my opinion, well on dry skin, more mature skin. It doesn't settle into lines. But when I put it under my eyes, I still have to be careful because the skin under there is just very sensitive, very thin. And so if I use too much, it will look cakey. But if I do what I just did, sort of just pat it in just really lightly, it's a great powder. So this powder, like I could even, like there's a little bit left on the brush, I could just kind of go like right there, like down the areas that just get, you know, like a little bit of oil. I mean, I don't get it, but it's just a beautiful finish. You can see it kind of takes off, you know, like any glow that was there. You can also see that the blush, the Mountain Walk, has diminished in shade quite a bit. So it really does dissipate. For me, that's good because I'm so pale. For other people, it's not so good. So just keep that in mind for the blushes. I love the blushes. I think the Lisa Eldred blushes are beautiful, but the pigment is deceiving because it looks so much deeper when you first put it on, and it does, you know, dissipate relatively quickly. So just something to keep in mind if, you know, you're picking them up. Again, I love them. I think they're beautiful, but they're not as pigmented as they at first might look. All right, so lipstick. I think, yeah, I'm gonna use this. This is the Call It a Day by Gucci. It's a very sheer lip. It's the shade here. And I just think that's perfect for the very intricate eye that we have today. So let's put this on and then I'll bring you guys in close to see. The Gucci lips are some of my favorites because the bullet's like the perfect size for my lips. They're literally like the width of my lips. And I can just put them on easily, and like I don't have a liner on today. And they just work really well. And I think they have a beautiful finish. So anyway, let me bring you in close, super close. So you can see how well everything blended. The brushes worked amazingly well. And it's just great to have these in my collection now because I do have a lot of cream shadows that I don't actually use, mostly because I don't have a brush that I really like to use for them. So I definitely will use this one, the soft concealer for like one undone kind of looks, but I really hope that she comes out with an eye set because I feel like I would use the eye set more than the face set. Don't get me wrong, I like creams on my face, but on creams on my face, I tend to use my fingers. If you've watched my channel, you will know that. These are all great and I love them, but I actually think I'll get more use out of an eye set than even a face set. The only caveat to that is that this brush, this Jumbo Base, I love this Jumbo Base brush for foundation. So final thoughts are, I love the brushes. I think they work extremely well. The combination of the goat hair and the synthetic is great for liquids and creams. As I mentioned, I think I'll use an eye set more than a face set, just because when I use creams and liquids on my face, I often use my fingers. Now that I have these though, I'll be more inclined to use these brushes, obviously, because they work really well. I think they blended everything extremely well. I think it looks really pretty. I think she did a great job with the shapes. I think these will all be incredibly useful. The mini base I was already using in the small size for contour, so this is probably what I'll use for contour most of the time. Highlighters, maybe even the jumbo concealer if I want to just get like a very specific highlight. And then the classic base I think is going to be great for blush, because you can just like, you know, keep it very specific. And then the jumbo is just, it's a really good foundation brush. Like I said, the only one I use is the 101, so this will rival that. And I'll, you know, this is my first impression, so we'll see how I continue to use it, but I really do like it. I think, you know, it just did a really good job. Everything blended really well. My skin isn't irritated, which is like the bigger thing for me, frankly, because I have problems with irritation with brushes. So I think it looks really beautiful. I think it's a great set of brushes to have. As soon as they are restocked, I'll let everyone know on my site, and I'll keep playing with them. It always reminds me when I use cream blushes how much when I use cream products, how much I like cream products on my face. But I don't, maybe it's just because I haven't had the right brushes. So maybe this will prompt me to use them more often. So I think that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in another video really soon.